LBJ might never have become president without the help of this dam. I'm in Austin, Texas at the Mansfield Dam, a dam that isn't just important for its hydroelectric power and flood prevention, but also for its political history. And the easiest way to describe that history is by talking about this man, Herman Brown. He co-founded Brown and Root Company in 1919, a company with humble beginnings building roads across Texas for minimal profits. But he dreamed of building something bigger, something like a dam. And Mansfield Dam was indeed the first major project that this company was awarded. More specifically, they were awarded a federal government contract to build this with FDR New Deal era funding. And this contract was a massive financial boon to Herman Brown and those close to him. I'm talking he used to make tens of thousands of dollars per contract. Now he was going to make millions. But for a number of reasons that are too complex to put into one TikTok, this government contract was at risk of not happening, which would do the opposite. It would lead Brown and Root Company into true financial ruin. So in 1937, they needed Congress to take action to assure that their contract would be awarded. And thankfully, they had this guy, James Buchanan, as their congressman, assuring them that it would get done. But unfortunately for them, 1937 was also the year that James Buchanan would have a massive heart attack and die. And this is the part where bright-eyed 28-year-old Lyndon B. Johnson enters the story, because he ran to fill James Buchanan's congressional seat. And he wasn't the only one. 9 other candidates entered the race with him. And LBJ was considered a huge long shot to actually win the race, except for the fact that he had something the other candidates didn't. A proven track record of getting things done in Washington as a congressional secretary. A track record that showed he had the political know-how to get the dam's contract completely solidified. And the possibility of this happening was enough to convince many of Herman Brown's closest allies, including Alvin Wirtz, who was a former Texas state senator, a lobbyist, and a lawyer who worked with the Brown and Root Company. But Herman Brown himself was still skeptical of LBJ and gave him only a token amount of support in this first campaign. A campaign that, you guessed it, he would win, and in his early time in Congress, he did indeed solidify the contract that would produce the dam. And Herman Brown, who was now a much richer man because of Johnson's support, would not make the same mistake again. He massively financed Johnson's following campaigns for re-election to Congress and ultimately his election to the Senate, propelling LBJ to the vice presidency and ultimately the presidency. And all the while, LBJ was continuing to get these dams built along the Colorado River and creating the modern Lower Colorado River Authority. And Herman Brown's Brown and Root Company would continue to get massive government contracts, including to build the Corpus Christi Naval Air Station and the modern-day Johnson Space Center. But absolutely none of that would have happened without the completion of this dam. And if you want to dig deeper on this story, I highly recommend reading The Path to Power, which is part 1 of Robert Caro's biography series on Lyndon B. Johnson.